And was Josh Allert right? Is this a totally different basketball team that we're seeing on the court right now with Jesse Edwards back in the fold? What is up? My name is Couz.
And my name is Mountaineer Paul.
And we are live for our post-game edition of
Hoops from the Hills.
Thank you for joining us tonight on our live post-game reaction show. We're here to talk about the West Virginia victory over Cincinnati, 69-65 in college hoops action. Big win for the Mountaineers. They held serve at home, which they have to do pretty much from here on out. They really need to win every game from here on out, to be honest, but they at least have to hold serve at home just to make this a respectable season. But before we get too far into the show, guys, we've got to give a shout out to our sponsor. And Paul, you want to kick it off, brother?
Yes, sir. This episode of Hoops from the Hills is brought to you by Dutch Miller Automotive, where friends and family pricing means you get the best deal, and that's right up front on any new or pre-loved vehicle, and that's in stock every time.
With brands like Chevrolet, Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, Ram, Kia, Ford, Hyundai, GMC, Buick, and Subaru, the Dutch Miller Automotive family is always growing and ready to put you in the car or truck you've been searching for.
Check out our inventory across West Virginia at DutchMillerAuto.com, or you could come in person today to the home of friends and family pricing, only at a Dutch Miller Automotive store near you.
That's right, folks, and don't forget, they do have locations outside the state of West Virginia. If you don't live in West Virginia, go online, see if they have a location near you. If you live in West Virginia, then they likely do. All right, let's get on with the show. Paul, big win for the Mountaineers, very needed win for the Mountaineers. 69-65 over Cincinnati with Hugs in the house. Give me your thoughts, man, on the game.
It was a tough physical game. The battle down low between Jesse and the kid from Cincinnati. I can't really say his last name too well, but what a battle that was. It seems like every team in the league has a 7-foot big that is really good. You know, I can remember where, we would go stretch even in the Big 12 or, early on in the West Virginia years when, we were really, because there for a while it was all guards and stretch fours and we didn't have to face bigs like we do now every night. And it's funny how the world is, everything goes around and comes around. Bigs are back in style again. Maybe not as much in the NBA, but they definitely are in college basketball. And here we go again with a great matchup between Jesse and this guy tonight. And they really went back and forth at each other. It was even for most of the night, but Jesse pulled away late, especially in the last 10 minutes of the game when he really turned it on. Jesse's exactly what I always thought he is. He's a guy that you can throw it down low to him, and he can't. That's not his strength, though. He's not bad at that. His strength is coming off mid-roll screens, running towards the basket, catching lobs and dunking it, and obviously cleaning up trash and garbage and just sticking that right back in somebody's face and breaking somebody's will down. And he did that tonight. He was 100% from the field. He had a perfect night. That's just not something you see every day. And if he'd have made his free throws, he would have had 30 points.
Yeah.
So, and then the job he did on the defensive end, changing shots. Listen, we faced a top 20 rebounding team tonight, and Jesse made us respectable in this game.
Right.
If without him, we wouldn't have been.
Yeah.
And we lose this. This would have been another game we lost by 11 points without Jesse.
Yeah.
So, Kirk Risa played really well tonight as well. He really stepped his defense up. I was in shock how well Kirk Risa played defense tonight. By far his best defensive performance. Raekwon Battle had a horrible defensive night. He had a horrible offensive night, but he hit big shots late.
Yep.
He got fouled on 3-pointers multiple different times and certainly came through when it was clutch time to do so. He just had, he had an NBA-level defender on him tonight. And he just needed a break from that kid. And when he got hurt, that was his break. And he was able to score. Sometimes you just face guys that are that – it's like Javon Carter. Javon Carter made many of NBA players look bad. on defense, and it doesn't mean you're a bad player. So that's what he was up against tonight. The kid that he played against tonight will be in the NBA, and it'll be a two-way player.
Yeah, remember Buddy Hield?
Yeah,
I think that's the one Javon made look bad, or not look bad, but definitely didn't make him look. But that definitely knocked him off his game. Yeah,
a few of the Kansas guards he took out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you were talking about Kerr's defense, and I was pulling up the stats as you were talking, Paul. He had 3 steals tonight in this game to go along with 7 assists, and had 10 points. So just a really good overall game for Kerr tonight, like you said. And then Raekwon had 10 points. But you talking about Jesse, I want to go back to him, man. Just kudos to that guy. I mean, second game back, first game fully back. Still, his wrist is still not 100%. You can tell that, especially when you watch him shoot free throws. He's not comfortable. The guy pours in 25 points and pulls down 10 rebounds. I mean, a double-double right off the bat. And you can tell – I think I owe Jesse an apology, because I think there were a few shows back, or several shows back, where I talked about how I didn't know if Jesse was I don't remember how exactly I worded it, but I basically talked like he wasn't that much of a difference maker for this team. And tonight I was proven wrong. And I'm not afraid to admit that. But Jesse, man, I mean, and I can't give him 100% of the credit here, but I think he made a difference. Cincinnati was averaging 78 points a game, or 77.5 or something like that, points a game on the year. West Virginia held them to 65 points tonight. I think that deserves some love, some kudos there for the defensive performance of this team, because that's where they've been struggling the most, is on the defensive end. And they stepped it up tonight and held Cincinnati well under their season average. So I think that needs to be mentioned.
Yeah, this team still has to get better in transition on defense.
Oh,
man.
absolutely.
It's been rough. It's been so bad.
Yep.
It was so bad tonight again. Cincinnati got free run after free run at the rim, after a turnover or after a long missed three at the West Virginia end. This team continues to struggle in transition. A lot of that has to do with the conditioning of a Cook and Jesse both. They're both trying to preserve themselves and taking a couple plays off here and there to try to preserve themselves. And they're playing against guys that are in really the last stage of a season that are in impeccable shape. And it really bears itself out in the numbers. When you look at the numbers, the transition defense for this team is going to be so important and crucial down the last 10-game stretch. What I tell you earlier today, Couz, I don't expect this team to go 11-0, but I'm not going to stop hoping and believing for it,
Right.
And what a story it would be if this team could somehow. It's all we got to hold on to, guys. I actually had an idea earlier today to start a what if kind of fantasy type X profile, like where you could where it would be like a free kind of thing where you could go back in time to what if this, what if that, just kind of similar. Okay, like what if Bob Huggins. What if the transfer portal was available when Bob Huggins came to West Virginia, and Walker and those guys could have transferred from K-State to West Virginia, just as an example.
Right.
But so because I'm always like, what if about stuff. So yeah.
No, I'm with you, man. Run to Reed said battle was plus 20 tonight. That's awesome. I don't know where'd you get that numbers at, Run to Reed. I'm not sure. I never know where to find some of that stuff at, post game. You can usually find it a day or two later, but sometimes post game it's harder to find. I appreciate you bringing that up, man. But yeah, man. I mean, I'm going to continue. I'm like you, man. I'm going to continue to support the team. I'm going to continue to watch. Full disclosure, I was not able to watch the entire game tonight. I was at a middle school basketball game that ended up going into overtime. But I did get to watch. I watched some of it on my phone in the gym while I was kind of pulling double duty, and then I watched the last few minutes. But I saw enough to know that the team played well, much better than they have been playing. Again, it's just like Jekyll and Hyde, man, a totally different basketball team at home than they are on the road, which not that that's unusual, but you normally don't see the disparity that this team has, It's like totally different teams, man.
Yeah, well, there's such a lack of chemistry in this team that One thing about home is, at least from my experience, and that's only, that's at the lowest levels, but at home, you don't think as much. You know what I mean? It's more
Mm-hmm.
you're just playing off the energy. And on the road, you're facing so much adversity, and you're having to think play to play more. I feel like you think more. So
Mm-hmm.
I think that has something to do with it. And it just happens to be this is Jesse's second game back with the team. So already we're seeing the benefits of some chemistry.
Yeah.
So hopefully this travels. Certainly the defensive rebounding will.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, you talked about rebounding. Our defensive rebounding, West Virginia actually matched Cincinnati tonight. It was the offensive glass that Cincinnati dominated, unfortunately. And what's surprising is, let me just go ahead and pull up the team stats while I'm talking about it here.
It's a good point, Timothy.
But when you look at, I'm sorry, that's the individual stats. Let me get back to the team stats. That's what I wanted. Yeah, here we
Timothy
go.
Green said, I actually love the fight that I saw of this team
Mhm.
tonight, coming from 10 points down.
Absolutely.
Was bigger than, that's somebody else. It was a pretty big deal.
Yep.
Somebody told me I need to read the comments because sometimes I just silently read them and answer. And he was like, I'm in my
I got
car. I
you.
don't know what's
But
somebody in my car. I'm like, what the heck's he thinking?
field goal percentage, West Virginia was 47%. Cincinnati was 38, basically. 3-point shooting, Cincinnati fired up 32
Cincinnati shot the
three-pointers.
lights out.
Yep. They shot a lot, but they didn't make many. They only made 9 out of 32, 28%. West Virginia only shot 11. They weren't relying on a three as much tonight, which I think is a good sign. Yes, they've got guys that can make the three, but is that really what you want to do? Do you really want to live and die by the three, especially when you got Jesse in there? They were feeding him down low, and I think that's what this team needs to do going forward. And then, but they shot 45.5%, so they were efficient with the three. And then free throws, Cincinnati only shot 8 to West Virginia's 28, but they only made 57%. Wow. They've got to get better from the free throw strike. The rebounding advantage was 9 for Cincinnati, 42 to 33, and all of that was on the offensive glass, 18 to 9. West Virginia had more assists than Cincinnati, 15 to 12. 8 steals to 4 in favor of Cincinnati, 7 to 5 blocks West Virginia favored there, and Jesse had 4 of those 7, by the way. So, again, we talked about his difference. He made a difference there as well, like you mentioned earlier, Paul, changing shots around the rim and even blocking shots. Turnovers, 13-11. Cincinnati had 2 more turnovers. But now this is a stat to me that's the difference in this basketball game. Cincinnati had only 12 points off turnovers, where West Virginia had 22. In past games, this stat has been flipped. The games that West Virginia loses, they're giving up way too many points off turnovers because they're live ball turnovers, And tonight it was actually West Virginia's advantage, 22 to 12, and the points in the paint, West Virginia won that as well, 34 to 30. Again, Jesse, a big part of that. That's another stat that West Virginia had been struggling with a lot this year. So 2 of the stats that they've struggled with in games, they were able to win tonight. Fast break points and points in the paint. Or I'm sorry, points off turnovers and points in the paint. What are your thoughts on – do you think Raekwon's struggles was due just because he had Cincinnati's best defender guarding him, Paul? Do you think that was pretty much it?
He might be the best defender in the Big 12. That guy's
Right.
extremely special. But as far as wing defenders go, I read up on him this week. There are several scouts that project him possibly into the second round based on his defense alone.
Mm-hmm.
He just absolutely smothered and dominated Raekwon Battle today. If Raekwon, he's very much a rhythm player, and if you don't let him get going to begin with, he'll struggle all night long. And that's exactly what this dude did. He smothered him down, and the only shots he made were off of fouls, threes at that. He wouldn't even let him get a 3 off. He was guarding him out to NBA 3-point range. And Raekwon was having to do step backs off of that. Mm-hmm. So he gave him no room, and we already know excuse me, guys, I apologize. That Raekwon is a average at best ball handler. So, unfortunately, when he gets somebody that's got quick hands and that can bother him when he's trying to put it on the floor, he can struggle there too. So,
Yeah.
I'm actually of the belief that Raekwon, there, in my opinion, and then listen, I'm just one guy, and people can disagree with me if they want. I don't believe that we're using Raekwon right totally. In my opinion, he's more of how we were using Kerr tonight. How you're running him off screens, letting him pick and pop, catch and shoots, things like that, rather than giving it to him and saying, "Okay, go get us a bucket." He can do that against certain players on certain nights, but tonight wasn't that night. And I think we should have ran him off some more screens, gave him some more alley oop deals because he can jump. He can jump out of the gym. He can jump higher than almost anybody in the gym any night. So I just think we have to get different. If we're going to run offense through him, it needs to be different ways other than just here you go, Raekwon, try to make a quick play because it's usually almost always or recently been a bad shot. So that's just my opinion on it. But yeah, I don't think he's a great one-on-one player at this point, at this level. Maybe at Montana State he was, but not at this level.
Yeah.
Not that he's a bad one-on-one player.
No,
Just saying against the better defenders,
it's not his strength necessarily.
So,
yeah, I get it. Real quick, guys, if I'm leaving that on the screen because earlier when I was reading the stats off, I had forgotten left the banner up on the screen and it hid most of the stats. So I'm leaving them up there for you guys to read while we're talking, but just for a minute anyway. Sorry about when I'm doing that, guys. I can't see the screen. I'm reading the screen that's being shared is the one I'm seeing. So I didn't realize the banner was still there, hadn't it? So I apologize for that. But anyway, you guys can see the stats there that we talked about. But real quick, I'm going to address some of these comments, guys. We got 90 of you in here. I ask that all of you please hit that like button. It really helps that YouTube algorithm. And if you're watching this on the replay, you can do the same thing. The like button really helps. Comments help. Please subscribe to Hoops from the Hills, guys. Let people know we're here as well. So share it with your family and friends. And we're, as far as we know, the only West Virginia basketball YouTube channel that solely focuses on basketball. I know there's a lot out there who focus on both sports. There's a lot that do football. I mean, heck, Paul and I have our own football channels, right? And I know there are some podcasts out there who do basketball. And I love those. Unreasonable Doubt comes to mind. I love that guy over there. Josh does a great job. But as far as YouTube channels, I'm pretty sure Hoops from the Hills is the only one that focuses on West Virginia hoops. So, guys, help us out. Share, like, comment, subscribe, do all that. Mouth of the Mountains, we thanks for the comment. He says, just imagine what our season would look like had we had this team together from the very beginning. So, absolutely right.
I think we'd look a lot like Cincinnati's record tonight, maybe 14-6, something like that. Maybe 13-7, somewhere in there, maybe a little better. But I definitely think we would be in the field. We would be a tournament team. I think you look at this. This would have been a 20 plus win team, probably 20, 21 games, 22.
Yeah. Anthony, thank you, man. And I apologize. We try to do these every game. There's a few games we just can't for various reasons, whether we're sick, whether we have stuff going on with our families or, our personal lives, whatever. We do our best to get one after every game, but we're not going to bat 1,000. There's 31 basketball games in a season, not counting postseason. So we're going to miss a few, but we do try to get these out to you guys. And we appreciate you guys sticking around after the games. You just spent 2 hours watching West Virginia basketball. I'm sure there are other things you could be doing, and you choose to stay here with us, guys. So we appreciate it. And Anthony, somebody asked a question. Go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say before the game, what did we talk about? Because we always ask before the game, hey, we're going live? You going live?
Yeah.
And something I said to Couz today was we owe it to them, right? And that's how I feel.
Because we missed the last one. Yep.
Yeah, and I feel like shit today. I really do. Like I'm sick, but it don't matter. I mean, I do enjoy it. It's something that's not like it's torture for me. And I appreciate your comment, Timothy Green. I did see it about you could tell I'm feeling bad, and I appreciate that. But at the end of the day, man, we enjoy doing this and want to bring it to you. So that's all that matters.
Somebody asked a question in the chat earlier about if this is the only game we've won where we lost a rebounding battle, and Anthony answered that question. He says, just looked it up, and the only other game we've won while losing rebounding battle was Drexel. So, Anthony, thanks for answering that question, man, because obviously we haven't had a chance to look that up yet. Lizell Barnes agreed with you, Paul, that Raekwon's really not good at breaking people down with the dribble. He's absolutely definitely not. Matthew Watkins says he also looks forward to the post-game shows. Ear Val, thanks for hopping in. Says, are you kidding? Wouldn't miss it. You can see your joy. Absolutely, man. Yeah, it's a lot more fun to do it when we win too, by the way. It's tough to do these when we lose.
Well, and especially like this year, or like in the football seasons we've had recently, where it's just back to back stuff happening. You know, that's when it starts to add up. Like, I can handle a loss here and there, but god dang, man, on top of everything that's happened this year, the team had to be bad too.
Yeah.
The record has to be bad too.
Right.
It's really, I mean, listen, we've had, and it's not like we have 30,000 subscribers on this channel. You know, we always have a good following in here. People show up. You saw how they were at the game tonight. They supported. I mean, that was a loud gymnasium tonight. We have the best fans, really, in my opinion, in the Big 12. And we show up for our shit, whether we're bad or good. And that includes extended periods of time. You know, like that football team has not been good, until this past year, for years, 4 years, 3 years, 4 years. And people continue to show up and show out. You know, that's just who we are. It's in our DNA. We're West Virginians, and that just goes hand in hand with our fandom.
Absolutely. Absolutely. John Kelly says, still a chance to catch fire late and make a postseason tourney. Never know, man. We're like Paul said earlier.
Hold on to it.
It's got to hold on to the hope. It's not likely, but it's possible, and we got to hold on to that possibility. Wouldn't it be cool if they did that, man? Think about it. What's that?
It would be so cool. You can pull up that schedule for a second, Couz, and just if you don't care, just fantasize about that.
I don't mind at all. I don't mind at all.
We'll get out our prediction hats, and on a scale of 1 to 10, I'll give you guys some confidence levels on some of these games. I've already done a little bit of research on some of these games towards the end of the year, and some of them are obviously already games we've already played. So,
can y'all see that?
Yeah.
All right, I can see it too now. All right, let's roll. All right, I see. All right, obviously we got BYU at home on Saturday. A 22nd ranked BYU team. That's going to be a tough one. What do you got? Then we have to go to Texas, then to TCU.
I think we win that game.
Which one? Texas?
BYU. I do
BYU.
Think we win that game.
Yeah. You want to take these one at a time?
Yeah, just a little bit.
All right, Texas at Texas.
Man, that's going to be a tough one. They're going to get back. They're way better, and they're good. They're good. We barely beat them, but it's a game I think we'll have a chance in with Jesse back. We beat him without Jesse, so you got to keep that in mind.
Yep.
We know what you're going to get with TCU and Jamie Dixon, right?
Yep.
They're going to be a tough physical team. Mm-hmm. It's going to it's basically like facing a basically a Hugs type of team, or like a Kelvin Sampson type team, a really ball pressure oriented, tough team that picks you up. Sometimes they'll go through quarter court press, make it tough on you. So it's going to be tough. We're going to be worn down by the time we see Baylor.
Yep. Then you got Baylor coming to Morgantown on the 17th.
Yeah. That's a game I don't think we win.
Yeah, I don't either. Baylor just seems to have West Virginia's number for some reason. I don't know why.
They're really good.
It's just a tough matchup for us normally. The way I think a lot of it is the way he coaches and the style of ball he plays, and they always have great guard play. Always have great guard play. Jalen Bridges is going to be, he's going to want to ball out in that game for sure. UCF.
He's like the least of my worries, but yeah, he will.
I agree. UCF comes to Morgantown on the 20th. I think that's a win.
Yeah. Man, I was so impressed with them.
I was too, but West Virginia's going to have redemption on their mind. It's at home. we'll have Jesse back that can help down low. I know that big man is a tough matchup even for Jesse because of his size, because of his thickness. He's just a big dude. But I think Jesse will be able to match up better than what Patrick and
no
the
doubt,
Cook did.
no doubt. And it was a close game without Jesse until the end.
Mm-hmm.
I think we ended up
losing by they pulled away at the end. Yeah. Then we have to go to Iowa State, a 12th ranked Iowa State.
They're hot. They're on fire hot right now.
Yeah. Then to Kansas State. And then Texas Tech at home. So, man,
it's just not easy, guys. And all this is when, it's easy when you just say we have 11 games left, right?
Mm-hmm.
But then when you actually break it down and look at it, you're like, oh, wait a second. You've got one, probably end up 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, could be 8.
Sorry, I moved it on you.
Teams left. Well, that's okay. You have to figure Kansas State's probably going to jump in and out of the rankings, and so is go back up again. Texas will probably jump in and out of the rankings at some point during this stretch.
Mm-hmm.
And so even Cincinnati could get in there if they go on a streak. So literally every team left could be ranked. But let's say 7. On the low end, 7 ranked teams left, guys, out of 11. So does that mean we're likelier to go 4-7 than 11-0? I'm just asking the question.
Oh no, it's fair, man. It's a fair question.
I think I wouldn't, but I would think 7-4 maybe at best would be my guess on this.
That's good. That's fair.
With the possibility to do a little better, but it's hard to say. It's really hard to say. I think we'll gain more confidence for the next game after each other game, or we'll have less. Depends on the team looks game to game. We'll have a great test in the very next game against BYU. So we'll see what that's all about. But if we can somehow go 10-1 or 11-0, I think the committee has to look at us.
Absolutely. Timothy Green brings up a great point. He says ESPN gave West Virginia a 27% chance to win the game. Anthony says we match talent with every team, but don't think we win a lot. And, Paul, I want to give you credit because you said something a few shows ago. You said it multiple times, actually. You said that Kerr had been struggling. He'd been shooting the ball well, but he'd been turning it over a lot. He just wasn't himself, right? And you said you thought that would change when Jesse came back. And tonight,
I did.
Did Kerr not look better tonight?
He did.
So it's almost like those two guys just seem to have good chemistry together. And maybe it's because they were the two of the first guys in his transfer class, right, to come to Morgantown. So they had probably had more practice together than some of the other guys had. A
player like Kerr has to have options, and what West Virginia was doing before Jesse came back was very predictable. They were doing the mid-ball roll screen, and somebody was rolling hard to the basket, and Kerr was either kicking that out to somebody on the three-point line somewhere, whoever they could find, or they were giving a bounce pass to the inside to like a Sumnick or somebody rolling hard towards the hoop. But nobody can get towards the hoop like Jesse can. And Jesse, there are so many angles you can get it to him. You can throw it out of his zone, and he's got such long arms, he can still catch it. If you throw it up high, he can dunk it. If you throw it down low, he's got good enough hands to catch it and go up and score anyway. And so what you do is in a mid-ball screen, and the guy said it during the game, West Virginia's going to run this ball screen until they can stop it. And that's because Kerr is so good at facilitating. It's just what he does. And that includes shooting the ball off the screen sometimes, which he did tonight. So you're right. I was right.
All right, Lizel, I want to address your comment, man. I was trying to do some quick math while Paul was talking. You think that West Virginia can get in the tournament if they go 500 in conference play? Well, right now, they're 3-6 in conference play. They would have to go 6-3. They have 10 games left. They would basically have to go. Wait a minute. Let me make sure my math's right here. Yeah, they would basically have to win. They would basically have to win, go 7-3 the rest of the way to finish 500 in the conference. They're at 8 wins right now overall. That would put them at 15 wins total and that would put them 15 and 16 overall.
Yeah, that means they would be
They
by
would
a
have a
couple
losing record.
wins. Yeah, and by a couple wins, that would be the most a team has ever lost and made the NCAA tournament. The highest, I think, is 14 losses for a team to make the NCAA tournament.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
that's the most somebody's ever lost and made it. So it's you have to base it off of that for now.
Somebody told me the other day, and I haven't looked this up, but I heard somebody, matter of fact, they put it in a comment on I think it was on one of our last shows. They said that the NIT doesn't even accept teams with below 500 records. So,
right.
But now, here's the thing, though. If that happens and they happen to win a few games in the tournament,
right,
then it's a different conversation, I think.
Yeah, right.
Last year's team was 19-15, 7-11 in conference. A 500 record in conference is a better resume, even with the losing season. The last year's team committee will consider early season issues. And they might, Lizel. Like I say, it might be something that's kind of unprecedented for the committee if that would happen. Because you'd have a team that really didn't have their starters until 3/4 of the way through the season, essentially. But I just don't think if I'm on that committee, if I'm in the committee room, I don't know that with good conscience I could put a team in the tournament with a losing record. I don't know that I could. Because what if you're one of the teams sitting on the outside looking in that's got 19 or 20 wins, and you're going to put a team in that's only won 15 games over them? I can't see it. Maybe I'm wrong, and I hope you are right, but I just don't see it.
Right.
And Lazo's got a point. The teams we would have to beat to get to 500, we'd have to beat. How many ranked teams did you call off for a minute ago, Paul?
7 at least.
Yeah. So, Lazo's, it's not a bad argument, Lazo. I could be convinced, I think, but I still, it would be such a bad, what's the word I'm looking for? The perception would not be good, I don't think, when you have the number in the loss column more than the number in the win column.
It'd have to become a talking point on ESPN. And the word would have to get out there. Pretty much everybody that's in the know knows what's happened to West Virginia this year. But, whenever they start talking about this stuff come tournament time, I think, they would probably bring up the fact that this would be something they would say, like, does the committee just kind of forget about the first 9 games of the season and judge West Virginia based off of when do you start to judge this team off of who they are, right? And you can't wait until Jesse came back. You can't wait until, you're pushing it, saying that the first 10 don't count.
Right.
But I think that's a fair enough argument because, the committee very well known to judge teams based off how they're playing and not how they began. It's all about how you're playing come March. And that's why I said, if West Virginia has won 9, 10, or 11 games during that stretch, they'll warrant some consideration. And Lenardi will know where we stand. That's the great thing. You don't have to worry about it too much because Lenardi is going to tell you the whole way. You're going to know.
Right.
He gets the info fed to him. He's missed, one, I think, in the last 3 years as far as guessing the tournament field. So, he's going to know, and we're going to know. So we'll know what we need.
Yep. Kerry Carlson says, unfortunately, the committee will look at bad losses. We need to make up for those with a bunch of Q1 wins. Exactly. Yeah. And then Brendan Baker,
one of the wins would be.
BPA 1985, said they got to win some road games, and that's another point. And Brendan Baker says we beat the Bearcats. Thank you guys for hopping in. By the way, if you guys are watching on X, we are streaming live on X. If you happen to be watching there, I forgot to mention this earlier. If you want to check out our pre-recorded videos and some of our past shows, come check us out on YouTube. Hoops from the Hills, easy to find us, and check out our content we've already done. If you're just now discovering us on X, we'd love to have you over on YouTube as part of our family over there. Come sub us up.
Hit that repost button.
Absolutely.
Repost.
Timothy Green says, please like and subscribe. Thank you very much. Thank you, Timothy. Matthew says we have 3 quad 4 losses. Yep, that hurt us bad.
But who was on our team when that happened, Matthew?
Right.
I'm just asking. I'm not disagreeing with
Right.
you.
Yeah.
I mean, would the committee possibly look at those and say, but because I mean, unfortunately, college football and college basketball aren't equal. Thankfully, the committee in college basketball takes injuries into account. They take in who's playing with on the team into account. They take it all into account, basically. Would they take in this entire situation into account? It's almost like we need too many passes to make it even possibly work, unless we just win 11 games.
Right.
You know.
Yeah, Mo's got it. Just go take that Big 12 tourney ship and take that auto bid. That's right, Mo. That's the way to do it. And this team's got – hey, guys, this team can do that. Jesse should be healthy by the end, barring
if
some
Houston
more –
wasn't in this conference, I would say, yeah, I agree.
Maybe somebody knocks Houston off before we have to play.
That's the only way. I'm sorry, guys. Houston's the best team. I've watched a bunch of college basketball this year. They're the best team I've seen. They're good, man. So
yeah.
Hopefully they would have it in cruise control and maybe just get knocked out early. But
yeah. How about BYU being ranked, man? Who saw that coming?
Not a lot of people, actually.
What a conference. What a conference this is, man. What a conference.
It's almost like being in the Big 12 kind of gets you a little bit of cachet as well.
It does, doesn't it? It does, doesn't it? Guys, I don't really have much else to say about this game. Paul, do you?
No, I got a headache from hell too. So
I know you do. I know you do.
Wrap it up.
I know you're not feeling well, and it's late. So, guys, we appreciate you coming in. Thanks for spending your time with us. 36 minutes and 45 seconds of your time with us here tonight. For those of you watching this on the replay, like, share, comment, subscribe. Help us get to that big 2,000 subscriber number. That's our next big goal. It's 2,000. We're on the way up, baby, but we need your help to get us there. Be on the lookout. We'll try to do another one of these after Saturday's game, and maybe have some content between now and then. Maybe if some news breaks or something interesting that we can talk about. But with that being said, we appreciate you guys for tuning in again to Hoops from the Hills. We're done.
Thanks, Mo.